The Philippines is being called Asia's rising tiger. But what exactly does this mean? Posting a GDP growth of 6.7% in 2017, the country has one of the fastest growing economies in the world, expanding at a rate unseen in the last 5 decades. The good news is, it's just getting started. The better news is that we have designed a brand new city to be the nucleus of this economic renaissance. Less than 1 hour from the capital, Manila, straddled by hills and blessed with tropical climate all year long. We are building the city of the future, a landmark development twice the size of Manhattan. Originally developed by the Americans for its secure and strategic location in Asia Pacific, Clark is being transformed into a disaster-resilient metropolis that will be competitive and attractive to a global market. It will consist of 4 main districts. The Clark Freeport Zone, an existing mixed-use complex established in the 90s. Clark Global City, which will serve as the primary business district. And New Clark City, which will house satellite government offices and a first-class sports village. Central to all of this is Clark International Airport, which will soon be expanded to accommodate up to 80 million passengers a year. This ensures that travel will be comfortable while trade is seamless. A city unmatched in connectivity, with access to world-class highways and the service of high-speed railways, connecting north to south and east to west, across surrounding seas and over oceans. Clark is a city built as living proof that business in this part of the world is not only easy, but simply better. With no red tape, lower taxes, and endless investment opportunities. This is a city prepared to attract talent so that the country's best and brightest will come here to work and choose to call this place home. Because this is a city that knows how to play, where you can unwind at your own speed, where safety is paramount, and people always come first. This is a city where history and culture thrive, where modern conveniences meet timeless traditions, and progress is driven by passion. This is a city with limitless ambition that may someday find itself among the great cities of the world, built for business so that time is always well spent, and built for people so that life is always well lived. This is Clark.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to HR on the Go, where top trends and hot topics in HR and people management are coming your way. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff. HR on the Go is a joint collaboration of Clark HR Council and International HR Institute, airing live on a CHRC Facebook page every month. And if you are interested in becoming a CHRC member, join us at via www.clarkhrcouncil.org/join. So in today's episode, I am joined by a learning and development professional slash educator, and we are going to be talking about boosting employee motivation through employee engagement. So what really is employee engagement? No, so by definition, employee engagement relates to the level of an employee's commitment and connection to an organization. And according to research, 92% of business executives believe that engaged employees perform better, boosting not only the success of their teams, but also the success of the organization. It's easy to go and Google and search for employee engagement programs, no, but are these really effective and sustainable? Of course, it really would depend on your organization. So this afternoon, before you go on researching on the best EE programs out there, let us first define and see what really employee engagement looks like. And now to help us understand the impact of employee engagement in the organization, may I introduce to you our speaker for today. He is a consistent leader from the academe to the workforce, now being a four-year academic scholar of the Office of the Philippine President through the Commission on Higher Education. He finished the bachelor's degree in hotel and restaurant management at Citizen College, Recolectas, Manila, with a magna cum laude title. He is now completing his graduate studies at the University of the Philippines Open University for Masters in Learning Sciences. He is bringing in 9 years of working experiences from the hospitality industry. He started his career in the hotel operations as a guest services agent in Dusit, Thani, Manila, and had a progressive career. Now he is currently with at New World Hotel Makati as the Talent Development Manager. He is an active member of the Philippine Society for Talent Development, and he is actively volunteering for the People Management Association of the Philippines, or PMAP. He is working with the Talent Development Manager in New World Hotel Makati, and he is a certified learning and development professional. It is my honor not to introduce to you Mr. Gilbert Gatdula. Hi, Sir Gilbert.
Hello, good afternoon sa Philippines, May, and good evening here from the US.
All
May.
right. First of all, thank you so much, no, for giving us an opportunity, of course, to learn about employee engagement despite your very busy schedule. And I know that you are on vacation right now. Kaya po maraming salamat, no,
Yeah,
at
um,
nagpa-istorbo ka sa iyong bakasyon dyan sa US. How's the weather there, Sir Gilbert?
it's really chilly cold here. So,
Mm-hmm.
for those who are planning to go to the US, it's kind of cold. So, make sure to bring your thick jackets kasi ang lamig talaga. Grabe. And I understand sa Philippines, di ba tayo, sanay tayo sa tropical weather. It's really
Correct.
different here.
At sobrang init ngayon, actually. You know what, Sir Gilbert, I'm very, very excited for our topic today because, I'm also a training. I used to work in training as well and in
Mhm.
the hospitality industry then. So, minsan talaga nauubusan na ako ng employee engagement programs. And
Yeah,
as I said on my introduction kanina, madaling maghanap ng employee engagement programs sa internet, no, sa
yeah.
Google. But to start our conversation today, what really is employee engagement, Sir Gilbert?
I would like to harp on what you've mentioned about the connection. Employee engagement is the connection with the company and the organization. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what really sets it apart is the personal connection of the associate of the or the team member to the company. It's
Mm-hmm.
very intentional that we understand that word personal because it
Mm-hmm.
should resonate with them personally, 'di ba?
Mhm,
They're not just working for the company for their paychecks, but at the
mhm,
same time, they believe in the culture, they believe in the values of the company. So, yan, personal connection to the company and to the organization.
mhm. Alright. But you know what? Ako talaga employee engagement to always listen to it. No, I always hear that. But what are the usual drivers ba of employee engagement to the employees?
I think it changes from time to time, May.
Mhm, mhm,
But I would like to narrow it down to three important things whenever we
mhm,
talk about employee engagement.
mhm, mhm,
Number one, and the basic driver of the engagement, of course, is the compensation and benefits. If
Correct,
the
correct
package
naman. Mhm.
is not so good, you would not really take it, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
in terms of the pay, in terms of the benefits, in terms of the
Mhm.
leaves, yan,
Mhm.
importante yan sa mga associates natin ngayon on
Mhm,
how they
mhm.
would like to be connected and would like to be engaged with the company. So that's
Mhm.
first C, compensation and benefits.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
May.
That's correct, no, Sir Gilbert. I know that money isn't everything, but at the end of the day, we do have bills to
Yes,
pay. So really,
yeah.
compensation and benefits talaga is one.
That's true. And given the price increase, the inflation rate, you cannot help but think, no, that the
Mhm.
packages that is being offered, you scrutinize it, and at the same time, you really check if this is the right
Mhm.
package for you. Because yun nga, at the end of the day, you are called to work and you are called to make money,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct, correct.
The second thing for me, the most important driver of the employee engagement is the culture. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, more than ever, people are paying attention to the work environment and they are checking
Correct.
if it's a healthy work environment.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
remember May, I received an offer just early this year, and
Mhm.
I wanted to, evaluate because the compensation and benefits exceedingly abundant. Okay, na exceed yung
Correct.
expectations ko. Kaya
Mhm.
lang in terms of the overall work culture, based on my background check, parang medyo dog eats dog kind of culture. Ibig
Mhm.
sabihin,
Mhm.
yung competition. And we
Mhm.
wouldn't want that really
Mhm. Correct, correct.
in a time of pandemic. So I think the values, the vision of the company, the values, and the overall work environment that you will be exposed with, that's something
Mhm.
very important for us to remember
Mhm.
whenever we talk about engagement. Because I
Mhm.
think the notion is employee engagement is just a one singular event. It's not. It is
Mhm.
something that you are attracted to when you enter into the company. That's compensation and benefits, and it's the
Mhm.
entire ecosystem that you are in, and that is the
Mhm.
culture. And I think what really supplements this employee engagement matter is the overall communication.
Correct. Mhm.
People are social beings, right? And if messages or ideas are not communicated transparently, then there is a shortfall. There is a
Mhm.
mishap that we would like to see. There is a gap that is
Mhm.
emerging.
Mhm.
So to address that, I think the most important thing is really communication from the management, from the middle management down to the associates or the team members. So, to answer your question, May, three things that are actually driving employee engagement for me in my experience is compensation and benefits, culture, and communication. Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. Thank you so much for that, Sir Gilbert. You know what? I was really struck when you mentioned about, culture and communication as well. Because usually, when we entice employees to join our organization, sometimes we focus on we have so much HMO, ganito, ganyan. We do
Yes.
have,
Yes.
you can have up to unlimited
Mm.
HMO, ganyan, ganyan. No? But of course, no.
Hospitalization.
Yes, correct. No, but we also have to, we also have to remember that there's more to that. No? There's more to compensation and benefits. There's
Yeah.
yun nga you mentioned about culture and communication. So
Mm.
now naman, no, Sir Gilbert, of course, to our viewers watching, no, ano ba, what's in it for the organization and to the employees, no? Yung ano bang benefit ng employee engagement for them? What's in
Mm.
it organization muna?
Mm. When you create a Venn diagram, siguro, and find the common denominator in terms of the benefit of employee engagement,
Mm-hmm,
I think
mm-hmm,
it's safe to say that productivity is the number one byproduct of employee engagement.
mm-hmm.
Happy associates deliver better. Happy
Correct. Mm-hmm,
associates translate to happier customers, right?
mm-hmm,
And if
mm-hmm,
customers are happy, they would tend to pay more. And if they
mm-hmm,
tend to pay more, the hotel or the organization or the company for that matter is profitable. So I
mm-hmm.
think the baseline that we are talking about here in terms of the benefits, it's really productivity. If
Correct.
an
Mm-hmm,
associate is engaged with a company and believes with its overall culture, they will be
mm-hmm,
motivated to work. Thus, they will be productive. And at the same
mm-hmm,
time, looking at it on an organizational level, you will see that there is productivity right? It's like a
Mhm. Mhm.
well-oiled machine. And according to
Mhm.
studies, may 17% productivity is being, it increases by 17% if the employees are engaged.
Correct. Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
mahalagang mahalaga yung ating employee engagement because
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
really helps not just the associate, but at the same time, the organization and the company.
Mhm. So Gilbert, have you heard of the term quiet quitting?
Oh, yeah.
'Di ba?
Oo.
You know what?
Mm,
Lately, I'm not sure. Is this positive or is this negative? But you know, with what they're mentioning kanina about the benefit of employee engagement, no, I think no, yung quiet quitting kasi sinasabi nila na employees are just doing the job, not
mhm,
going above and beyond, diba? That's quiet quitting. But I think with employee engagement, no, I think employees no would really exert more effort with their jobs and not just come in the office and do what's on their checklist, but instead no they'd go above and beyond to what is requiring from them. So no, I think, have you heard of it, Buzz or Gilbert? Quiet quitting.
yes, that is actually a tough concept to define
Mm-hmm.
and
Correct,
discuss.
correct.
Kasi ang ano it's really tough right now,
Mm-hmm,
especially
mm-hmm.
given that we are recovering from the pandemic, right?
Correct.
So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
maraming factors ang nagko-contribute dito. But I think at the
mm-hmm,
end of the day, organizations and for us human resources professionals and learning and
mm-hmm,
development
mm-hmm,
professional,
mm-hmm,
the word intentional really
mm-hmm,
is a game player because
mm-hmm,
it really strikes a balance between the loads of work or the checklist that you need
mm-hmm.
to do to fulfill your job, but at the same time, yung values and yung personal connection, is it
Correct.
something that is being nourished during the
Mm-hmm.
process? So yon, it's really tough.
Correct, correct. Okay. Sir Gilbert, how long have you been in the L&D phase? How long?
I think I'm going 5 years
Right.
already. Kasi medyo
Mm-hmm.
nag-transition ako from the hotel operations. I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
started with guest relations, yan. So
Mm-hmm.
front desk, ang aking
Mm-hmm.
unang naging job. And at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, the company was very generous to have provided me with progressions. So,
Mm-hmm.
nakahandle na tayo ng mga guest complaints. And at the
Mhm,
same
mhm,
time,
mhm,
I was handling quality management, then learning and development. Kasi partner yan eh. Tandem yung
mhm,
quality management and learning and development. And
mhm,
learning and development is a facet of human resources. Kaya
mhm.
yan, dikit-dikit at dugtong-dugtong. Eh, nung pandemic, medyo nag-downsize ang mga companies.
Correct,
So,
correct.
we are
Mhm.
doing multitasking.
I think Sir Gilbert, no, that's a great experience for you, no, being coming from the operations, going into training. So I feel like when you were, creating Siguro employee engagement programs, like like what the employees would need, no, because you
Yeah.
were part
Mm.
of them before. So now my next question, Sir Gilbert, is that what are the factors that that you consider when you start creating employee engagement programs?
I think number one, the fundamental factor to consider is really an alignment with the company values and the
Mhm,
culture.
mhm, mhm,
You
mhm,
see, the company values and the culture, it has to be consistent from the things that you
mhm,
do in the company and even yung
mhm,
mga marketing, di ba? Yung ating mga employer marketing or brand
mhm,
marketing.
mhm,
That has
mhm,
to be consistent. So for example, in one organization, this is just an example, they
mhm,
are harping the concept or the value care. So it is important that you draft programs that would really show care. So, for
mhm,
example,
mhm,
during a time of pandemic, during
mhm,
the height of COVID-19, you
mhm,
would be
mhm,
sending out some care packages to the
mhm, mhm,
associates and to the
mhm,
family. So, number one, there is an alignment because that's branding and that's very
mhm,
important for human
mhm, mhm,
resources.
mhm,
Number two is communicating, and therefore there should be information. Okay?
mhm,
Gawa
mhm.
ka nga ng gawa ng project, gawa ka nga ng gawa ng program, hindi naman
Correct.
'di ba? So
Mhm,
who would benefit from it? Who would attend these programs? Wala,
mhm,
'di ba? So I
mhm,
think
mhm,
creating the program and then marketing it to the associates and to the team members, sharing this information is very important. It's
mhm,
paramount actually to the success kasi kaya nga tayo nagki-create ng program, it's for them. But how would they
mhm,
know if we do not tell them?
mhm,
And finally, in terms of the factors talaga, I think yung direction from the management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Correct.
I these programs should be done by the management team, hindi
Mm-hmm.
like human resources. I mean, human
Mm-hmm.
resources should be the left hand, okay, of the program, but at the same time, ang nagde-direct at nagpo-propel talaga nitong mga programs is really the management team because they will see na, wow, my general manager is helping me do this employee engagement activity. Oh, my director or my division head is doing this for us. And it tells me that he's really into it. 'Di ba? Kasi I'd like to speak for Filipinos because we are very emotional and at the same time, yung ating affection, importante yan eh. The
Correct.
management
Correct.
should be there, 'di ba? Kaya yan ang aking mga these are the things that I'd like to believe are very fundamental whenever we talk about the employee engagement. So there should be alignment with the values of the company. It should be marketed to the associates. And number three, there should be direction from the management team. Hindi naman pwedeng laging HR lang, di ba? It should be a collaborative feat between human resources and the management team.
Sir Gilbert, you mentioned about management, no? When I was
Mm,
younger, this was my main ano talaga, my main challenge because of course I'm younger and then I have to obtain the management buy-in. So
mm.
paano ba, Sir Gilbert? How do you obtain management buy-in? Because as I said, when I was younger, ang hirap for me. So how do you do it?
Management buy-in, I think it's very important that you study, of course, for example, a program or a certain initiative. And when you study it, you have parang thesis defense yan eh. 'Di ba?
Tama, totoo, totoo.
When you are faced with the seat of leadership, they will really check if you know what you're talking about. They will check if it will really work. So studying what works and what doesn't work is very important, right? In terms of the employee engagement programs. And at the same time, you're like selling an idea to them. Eh. Whenever you sell an idea to them, you sell them the concept, you let them try the concept, and you let them know how will they benefit from it and how will the organization benefit from it. So ano yan eh, laging three-pronged or threefold ang atake dyan. You study it, and at the same time, you present it to the management team because how would they know, right? And at the same time, you let them know the benefits of it. So laging dapat mas nag-outweigh ang benefits kasi ang magiging first question ng management would be budget,
What
right?
oh yeah, correct, correct, correct. Eh, ang HR pa man din, Diyos ko, we spend too much. Kaya lagi nila sinasabi, ang
Yeah.
HR daw ay isang expense department.
Oh, but when you weigh it with the benefits, you will see that in the long run, it actually creates the ecosystem and the culture. And I'm speaking for hotel companies, international hotel chains, and they are really crafting these programs because sila na mismo ang nagde-direct. Sila na mismo ang nag-institute nitong mga programs na ito. And the properties, whichever part of the world you are in, sumusunod na lang for them to really have consistency and for them to really know na ito pala yung mga important na values sa organization na ito at sa company na ito.
Correct, that's correct, Sir Gilbert. But you know what, you mentioned about yun nga, sometimes in the properties, diba, we do implementation. But
Yes.
ako, what I do before is, of course, we still try to, it's you follow the values, but at the same time, you mentioned kanina na you still, market it to the associates. So at the
Hmm.
same time, you kind of tailor fit it net
Yes.
to the needs of
That's
the
correct.
property that where you're in, no? So Sir Gilbert, kanina then you mentioned about we're bouncing back, ganyan. So,
Hmm.
what were some of, the challenges, no? Later will be the challenges in employee engagement in
Mhm.
general, and what were the challenges that you experienced in employee engagement during the pandemic? Alam ko marami kang masasabi dito because it was
Oo.
so hard.
For organizations, I think the first thing that they have to do is to really maintain the sustainability and the profitability of the company. Hindi
Correct,
naman yan
correct.
para maging masaya lang ang employees eh. I
Tama,
remember
tama.
a
Mm-hmm.
friend from the L&D, she mentioned that survival, hindi na lang ito about thriving eh,
Totoo.
during
Mm-hmm.
this time of
Totoo,
the
totoo.
pandemic, but
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
basic is really all about survival. So I think that's fundamental. But at the same time, you tend to the budget, yan yung isa sa mga chine-check sa
Mhm.
atin, di ba? In terms
Mhm.
of the spending, you have to be wise. And for some organizations, they have downsized really their operations and putting into the background the things that is not really so important like before. So I think in terms of the challenges, priorities, number one talaga yan kasi well-being ang chine-check na atin nung pandemic, right? The health, the overall health of our associates, that took the first priority, right?
Mm.
But
Correct, correct.
when the government and when the medical experts were seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, they were saying, oh, get tested, get vaccinated, and all. And we were hopeful that things are improving, right? But in between
Mhm.
the process, we wanted, of course, to make sure that our current workforce is still engaged, right? So even though may challenges pa rin, there are physical and health risks involved, we try to be as creative as much as possible in terms of the employee engagements that we have provided. I'll share with you an experience. Noong
Sure,
pandemic,
sure.
nauso ang online selling, right?
Correct, correct.
So
Mhm.
yung online selling na yan, we would usually see these online selling programs or initiatives in Facebook, in social media, right? Yung iba nga nagla-live selling pa eh. And we took this opportunity to make sure that we care for our colleagues by selling the products within the company. Okay, we gave them a chance to promote their businesses. So we created a newsletter and then we created what looked like booths in our cafeteria, then, of course, with social distancing, physical distancing, and stuff. And marketed the products that were being sold by our colleagues. So it's kind of menial, but I think it is a big leap in terms of
Correct.
support to
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
associates because we're letting them know, we're validating the fact that we care for you. We care for your kabuhayan. We care that you can bring something. We care that you can bring food to the table pag uwi ninyo ng inyong bahay. So I think in terms of resources, that is the biggest challenge, but it was answered back by resourcefulness and creativity. 'Di ba? You are finding some other things for you to do. So sino ba naman mag-aakala, 'di ba? Online selling.
Correct,
And
correct.
can I share with you another example? Okay?
Mhm.
In my previous organization, hindi naman so famous ang TikTok sa atin before eh, right? So during the pandemic and until now, TikTok is gaining traction and it's actually being used by companies now to market and promote their business, right? So we did a competition of TikTok
Yes,
talent.
yes. I can relate to that.
Yeah. So meron kami noon drop the guest room key. You know this, there is a guest room key for you to enter the hotel guest room. And the challenge is whenever that guest room key is being transferred to one associate from the next, they would show how they prepare for work. Ayan. So kasi ako, I came from the hospitality
Mhm,
industry.
mhm, mhm.
So from a casual clothing to the uniform of a hotelier and to a personal protective equipment dahil that's an
Correct.
additional
Mhm.
layer. Diba? So we showcased our associates who are actively working and participating in helping the sustainability of our company, but with a tinge of fun. Dahil nagsasasayaw silang ganyan while changing in
Correct,
their
correct,
clothes.
correct. Mhm, mhm.
And we're so used, diba, to the face-to-face competitions. But why not
Mhm,
take
mhm.
advantage of social media? So yan,
Mhm.
resourcefulness, resource is very scarce during the pandemic because the priority really was to address the health risk. But I would like to say that this was really answered by generally our creativity and resourcefulness. Nag-iba-iba
Correct,
yan.
correct.
'Di
Mhm,
ba?
correct.
Makikita mo may mga nag-live selling diyan, nag-TikTok
Mm,
competition,
mm, mm,
'di
mm,
ba?
mm.
Or yung mga making of the ube pandesal, ganyan. So,
Correct.
yan.
Alam mo ba natutuwa ako, Sir Gilbert, sa mga shine-share mo because we also did both what you
Mm.
mentioned though. But we did not do it yung face-to-face na online. We did online selling pa din via group. So I made another group chat where all of them can post their
Yeah.
paninda. Yan,
Yes.
ganyan. Tapos we also did a TikTok competition. So I feel like grabe, talagang ma-extract ang creativity at resourcefulness ng L&D professionals nung time ng
Yeah.
pandemic. Because of course, we were so used to, and then training also, and we had to shift to self-paced, ganyan.
Yes.
Napakahirap talaga.
Mm. There were
Ayan.
many transitions during the pandemic, but
Correct.
it was a painful transition, but at the same time, a needed one because, syempre, we
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that learning is still there, engagement is still
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm. Now, my next question lang is, of course, no, year-end parties are coming na,
Mm.
Sir Gilbert, no? What would you, how do you create a lengthy, I'm not sure if you have experience already, but how do you prepare for, this year-end parties coming up?
Well, I think there is more leniency. We go with what the government dictates. If they tell
Mm-hmm,
us
mm-hmm.
that there is already an allowance for 100% occupancy in terms of the function spaces, then that should be it. But I think what really changed now is that aside from the face to face modality, there is now hybrid modality. So for those who do not really feel like going into the function room, we provide a video streaming for them. So yung sa current organization ko naman, I think we're doing a face-to-face year-end party because sales and revenue is hitting an all-time high for us. So yan, yung mga
That's right. Mm,
na-miss ng mga associates kasi tayo we always go by tradition, right? For the
correct.
hospitality industry, it could be dressing up, it could be dancing through a certain theme, or at the same time, it could be a competition between the different hotel units or different hotel departments.
Now, my next question, Sir Gilbert, naman is, as I said a while ago, no, tayo ay expense. Employee engagement may
Mhm.
sometimes be expensive. So, how do we measure the ROI? How do we measure the return of investment of our programs that we impose in the organization?
You always check on the products, the byproducts of these investments. So ako, papaano natin na-check ito? Number one is the annual engagement surveys. You would see that based on the questions that were prepared by the experts, they would tell you if the associates and the certain departments are engaged. And it's an annual thing that we are doing in our industry, in the hospitality industry. Before it's employee satisfaction survey, but times have changed. It's now called annual engagement or employee engagement surveys. Now, at the same time, pinupulsuhan nila yan eh. There is this what we call pulse surveys, right? Parang sa
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
election, we
mm-hmm,
get the pulse of the people. So in
mm-hmm.
between the year or within mid-year, nagkakaroon ng pulse surveys, employee pulse surveys to really check if we are doing well or not. But ako at the end of the day, for hotels, and hotels are now optimistic, I see value in terms of retention and promotion. If I see colleagues being promoted and scaling up the ladder, then I think the employee engagement initiatives and activities that we are doing are effective because we are able to support them. At the same time, the retention percentage should be consistent or should be very positive. So that is also an indicator that the employee engagement initiative is successful.
There you go. Thank you so much for that, no, Sir Gilbert. Now, naman, what would be your advice, naman, for those, we do have a lot of HR professionals out there that are maybe eyeing a role in the training or employee engagement facet of HR. What would be your, best advice for them?
Oh,
Or
I'd
baka
like
ang
to.
advice mo, wag na. Stay there.
No, I'd like to believe that we all go with purpose, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think to encapsulate everything, I'd like to put it in one word. It's to really be intentional. The human resources, the learning and development professional, we are the soldiers. We uphold. We are the bearers of the company culture, and it has to be very relevant and relatable to them by being intentional. Okay? So as simple as talking to them, asking them how they are, sabi nga nila, kumusta ka, is a very important question that is being asked now to employees, could make a difference. in the lives of our associates. And at the same time, we have to pay attention to the trends because associates are changing. The overall landscape, the working landscape right now is changing. We need to pay attention in terms of the well-being. Yeah, di ba? Sabi nila, mental health is the next pandemic. And how do you prepare for that? How well crafted are your mental health programs in the company? And at the same time, we also have to pay attention to the diversity, inclusion, and belongingness programs because these are the things. Kung nag-iiba ang panahon, nag-iiba din ang ating workforce at nag-iiba din ang kanilang perception. And us as human resources professional, learning and development professionals, we should be at least 5 steps ahead of them and telling our management team, oh, this is the trend, this is what really works, and this is what doesn't work. So yun ang masasabi ko, be intentional because yung authenticity, it's something that associates really don't pay for, right? But it's something remarkable and something that they remember.
Correct, correct. That's such a great no, no, that's such a great advice on being intentional. And I like how you mentioned, Sir Gilbert, yung times are changing.
Oh
So
yeah,
kailangan mo talagang kumip up sa trend. Like yun nga,
yes,
when the pandemic hit, we really had to transition to everything virtual. And of course, some of our employees in the hospitality industry, some of them are, I don't wanna ano naman, pero some of them, their jobs are to clean the rooms, ganyan. But
yeah,
you had to teach them how to, use Microsoft Teams, or you have to
yes.
use Microsoft Forms. You have to eventually teach them all of these things. So
Mhm.
I really, really love how you mentioned, being intentional and keeping up. You mentioned about being 5 steps ahead. So now my last question na lang, no, Sir Gilbert, is that ano ba? What are the latest trends in employee engagement in L&D?
Ayan, in terms of the employee engagement, as I have mentioned, there should be programs in terms of mental health awareness. Kasi very important yan ngayon dahil how do you cope during a pandemic or what happens after the pandemic, right? And at the same time, yung diversity, inclusion, and belongingness, this is something that is gaining traction among the companies because it is also important that we provide equal opportunity to every associate and every human being that there is. Now, in terms of learning and development, one thing is for sure, and in the Philippines, online learning is an option, preferred option nowadays because it is flexible. It might cost the initial investment might be costly, but in the long run, it is easy to execute. But at the same time, what complements online learning is the use of virtual reality. Yan. So according to studies, the virtual reality actually helps provide a very authentic experience to the associates and pati AI or artificial intelligence that is also being used to make sense of the learning. So yan siguro ang share ko sa iyo, May, and to our listeners here. In terms of the trends, in terms of the employee engagement, mental health programs are something that you need to cement. And at the same time, an awareness and appreciation of the diversity, inclusion, and belongingness of our associates. And for our learning and development, there is really a need. Kahit anong age ka pa, kailangan mag-transition talaga to online learning because of its
Correct,
flexibility. And may ako, I've
correct.
been telling our tenured associates, as long as you know naman how to use Facebook, as long as you know how to use mobile phones, mobile devices, you can navigate through online learning. So that's an
Correct.
easy encouragement sa kanila.
Correct. Minsan kasi yung simpleng commenting your ganito ganyan. I used to do that actually with my previous employer. We do that. Yung they will just comment something, say for example, what was your experience on ganito ganyan, and then simple, using a Facebook, navigating employee engagement through Facebook is such a wonderful thing. And I think
Yes.
no, kailangan talagang kumip up ng lahat.
Yes.
Kailangan kumip up because it is the trend na talaga. And
Yes.
now, Sir Gilbert, this would be my last question na talaga. My last question. So ano ba? How do we boost employee motivation through employee engagement in a nutshell?
I think it's all rooted in the culture of the company. if you start off with a very good culture, of course, no culture is perfect, but you pay attention to the majors or what really gets this culture, what really runs this ecosystem. When you pay attention to that, everything else will follow. And how do we boost it? The first booster, or the ones that I find the catalyst, are really the seat of the leadership. You have to make sure to get the buy-in from the management. Why? Because it will be easy to trickle down all these initiatives once you have management buy-in. So boosting employee motivation through employee engagement, starting from the leadership down to the associate level. That's very important.
There you go, Sir Gilbert. You know what? Our conversation is something that I've learned so much, but at the same time, I can relate to so much. So there you
That's
go
good.
again, Sir Gilbert. Thank you so much for sharing your time and amidst your busy schedule. And of course, thank
Hmm.
you for sharing your expertise and knowledge
Yeah.
in employee engagement. Before we end, do you have anything to promote?
Well, wala naman. Just make sure that
Mm-hmm.
we are all safe and well kasi magpapasko na, 'di ba? Ilang araw na lang.
Correct. Mm-hmm,
Pasko na
mm-hmm.
tayo, right? So I just want to wish everyone a thank you. Thank you, May. Thank you to the team who invited me for this interview. I'd also like to thank the viewers here. Sana po ay may na-share po ako sa inyo that you can use naman sa inyong organizations.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you again so much, Sir Gilbert. And of course, to our viewers, if you are interested in the future to go back to this episode, you may do so. And you may just visit our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. It's at Clark HR Council Facebook. And you may visit our in Psychological Group on Clark HR Council. And with that, again, thank you so much. If you are interested in becoming a CHRC member, join us via www.clarkhrcouncil.org/join. Again, thank you so much, Sir Gilbert, for that wonderful conversation. And to our viewers, thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
The Philippines is being called Asia's rising tiger. But what exactly does this mean? Posting a GDP growth of 6.7% in 2017, the country has one of the fastest growing economies in the world, expanding at a rate unseen in the last 5 decades. The good news is, it's just getting started. The better news is that we have designed a brand new city to be the nucleus of this economic renaissance. Less than 1 hour from the capital, Manila, straddled by hills and blessed with tropical climate all year long, we are building the city of the future, a landmark development twice the size of Manhattan. Originally developed by the Americans for its secure and strategic location in Asia Pacific, Clark is being transformed into a disaster-resilient metropolis that will be competitive and attractive to a global market. It will consist of 4 main districts. The Clark Freeport Zone, an existing mixed-use complex established in the 90s. Clark Global City, which will serve as the primary business district. And New Clark City, which will house satellite government offices and a first-class sports village. Central to all of this is Clark International Airport, which will soon be expanded to accommodate up to 80 million passengers a year. This ensures that travel will be comfortable while trade is seamless. A city unmatched in connectivity, with access to world-class highways and the service of high-speed railways, connecting north to south and east to west, across surrounding seas and over oceans. Clark is a city built as living proof that business in this part of the world is not only easy, but simply better. With no red tape, lower taxes, and endless investment opportunities. This is a city prepared to attract talent so that the country's best and brightest will come here to work and choose to call this place home. Because this is a city that knows how to play, where you can unwind at your own speed, where safety is paramount, and people always come first. This is a city where history and culture thrive, where modern conveniences meet timeless traditions, and progress is driven by passion. This is a city with limitless ambition that may someday find itself among the great cities of the world, built for business so that time is always well spent, and built for people so that life is always well lived. This is Clark.